have breaking news that we were going to make on stage at the at the Cerebral Valley AI Summit. Parag Agrawal, the CEO of Parallel Web Systems. Recently, we were breaking the news that they have announced a new funding round, 100 million. You can check out the valuation on Newcomer.co. So, I mean, first question here, how excited are you to be talking about this and not about Twitter?
Very, although when I talked about Twitter, I was very excited to talk about that because that was the mission I was on. But the web is an even bigger mission. So
yes, we're on to the new. All right, let's just talk about how you guys are rethinking the web in the era of agents. How is it different that an AI agent kind of trawls and condenses information from the web in the way that a human being does? Explain that difference to us.
Yeah, no, I think if you think about how we've used the web together, like we go on browsers, we oftentimes like search for things, we see 10 blue links, we figure out which one we want to click. Most of us end up clicking one of the top 3. We go to a page, we don't often scroll down all the way to the bottom, we see some content, we go backtrack, find another link, find another search, keep doing this. Agents, a lot of agents that you all use are perhaps doing something similar because they're trying to learn from these human trajectory using the same human tools. And they're getting stuff done, and we enjoy that. We think there's a better way. What agents are really good at is taking information and making a decision about what to do. Mm-hmm. And I think we have to cut the number of decisions for them. So the way we think about it is, what are the most, we don't like to rank URLs. We decide what are the most effective tokens to put in the context window of an agent so that it can get work done. So you are now cutting many steps around clicking and finding content. If some content is at the bottom of a page and it's super relevant to the question agent is trying to solve, we can bring it right into the context window.
Right. And let me just cut you off here to say, like, when I run like a deep research query on ChatGPT right now, I can see it running through the web pages that it's searching to find the answer to my question. Effectively, what you're telling me is that this is an old way of doing things, that you have this AI era technology running on top of a platform that was built fundamentally for a different era. And that's the problem you guys are dealing with, right?
Yeah, a typical agent is trying to use human tools to do work in a way a human might have. Yeah. And that's sort of the AGI notion, doing the generalized thing. I think the web is an interesting enough problem, and a hard enough problem, and a pervasive enough problem. Like how much work can we do if we cut off web access from ourselves? What categories of work could we do? And so now every agent will need the web. So it's actually worth building a tool which is optimizing for agents instead of relying on tools we've built for 30 years for humans. Mm-hmm. And by building these tools, like if you were to compare against like a ChatGPT deep research like thing, which is using human tools versus our tool, the agent using our tool ends up doing half the number of queries because it is more likely to find the correct answer in a query than it is using human tools. It is going to use under half the tokens because our outputs will be token dense. As a result, it's going to be faster in getting stuff done. And most importantly, it's going to hallucinate less and produce more accurate answers. So optimizing tools for agents is a thing, and we've sort of proven it.
When you look at the current state of AI agents right now, and I would say the general consensus among people that use them is they're not very good. There's a lot of people that complain about being forced to use AI agents. How much do you think the sentiment around agents comes down to the fact that they're not very good and they're using these old era technology to basically function?
No, I think my personal view is agents are useful if you know how, where, and when to use them. Now, some of the limitations of the agents come from the models needing to get better. Some of the limitations come from them not having the right tools. And they don't have the right tools for oftentimes 2 reasons. Like, we didn't give access to a tool that would be useful. Like, it's a common thing that happens for coding agents where people don't give it the ability to run tests. So how good can the agent be if you've handicapped it? Mm-hmm. But the one we focus on is a bunch of tools built for humans are just too hard for agents to use, and we'll have to we'll need 2 more leaps in terms of models and their capability before they get there. But we don't need to wait for that to happen. We can build tools for agents and allow them to do things today instead of waiting for research advancements to get closer to AGI.
Yeah. How much is the open web essential to the effectiveness of an agent? Like, how much does the open web need to be rewired in order to make these current tools work?
I think it's super essential. Like, I think if you think of why we were able to train these agents is because the open web existed in the first place, and all of this knowledge and insight and data and tokens existed for people to be able to pre-train on that information. Now, the interesting thing is that if you're using a model, it has some weird subset of the open web memorized. It is the head content, and it is the content that existed on the web when it was trained, which was like a few months ago. Mm-hmm. But then it resets your expectation like, oh, this is this all-knowing model, except it does not remember anything in the tail. And you don't know where the boundary lies, and it does not know anything, some obvious things that we all know because they happened today, and we saw them. And so our expectations from all models, agents, are going to be that they are all-knowing. And our expectation of what all-knowing is what's on the open web.
Yeah.
And that's why we believe that any AI application or agent that's going to use a model must use access to the web as a core component, because we'll all expect it to.
And there's only a certain component of the open web that is relevant to an agent at any given moment, right? And medical AI agent wants access to high quality websites run by professionals, hospital systems. They don't want access to the dark corners of Reddit that would lead it astray, right? I mean, that's also what you guys are trying to deal with here.
Yeah, I think so. We focus on quality above all else, right? So the web as it exists, search as it exists, how we navigate is a lot of things bundled together. It is some notion of quality, some notion of business models, economics, engagement optimization. For an agent, what matters is authoritative, high quality, relevant content. Now, of course, we have to do a lot of work to figure out what's relevant. We have to figure out what's authoritative. We're doing that not for URLs, but for actual content. And for one simple example is we'll rely much more on original source content rather than layered, curated content which links to it. For humans, this layer of curation is actually really helpful because it saves us from doing work from first principles. And we just have like, oh, someone who aggregated from 6 different places and put a website for us because many people have this kind of a query. With an agent, the agent can actually go do that work from first principles from source material.
Relevant.
And so that's why we overemphasize source authoritative material over the curation layer material.
Yeah, and I want to peer a little bit down the road here. I was at a conference recently and someone was talking about this world where AI agents, as they start to proliferate, will be interacting not even so much with humans, but other agents, that we're going to basically dispatch these to do our bidding, and the main communication will be among other agents. That sounds chaotic and dystopian to me, but only would be made worse if the agents themselves aren't good. So do you like subscribe to this vision of agents talking to agents, and how do we make this functional?
It sounds wonderful to me, not dystopian at all. I think we already see it happen. So we've spoken so much about our search tools and how for an agent you build search tools. We also build search agents. These search agents are used by other agents to do end-to-end work, which could be deep research, which could be web enrichments. I actually think for those of you who now use coding agents often have sub-agents that people are starting to configure, and they actually allow you to do more. We're seeing the same with our customers, wherein by calling our sub-agents which specialize on web search, a general purpose agent which has a bunch of other tools and is optimized for a different set of things. It's very similar to humans with specializations that we're starting to now see in agents, and we think it'll be interesting. I believe next year we'll see a lot more work being done by agents delegating to other agents.
Yeah.
Today we're in the world of agents using tools. Next year we'll be in the world of agents.
And avoiding a situation, there are videos of people having conversational AI tools, chatbots talking to each other, and it is very sycophantic and almost nonsensical at a certain point. They keep trying to finish each other's sentences. That's obviously not a great outcome, but you think there's a world where an agent can actually have an effective conversation with another agent.
Totally. I think I believe agents will have effective conversations. We will all use AIs in very, very silly and stupid ways. So that will happen too.
Yeah.
But I think there are many, many very, very useful ways of agents talking to other agents, and that will proliferate this year.
Yeah, amazing. I wish we could talk more, Parag, but we've got to get you off stage. You're going on TBPN. But we got the news first, Jordi. But anyway, thank you so much for joining, and we will talk more about this. So
I'm going to tweet between now and TBPN.
Between here now in the bottom, the tweet, and then TBPN.
See you all.
Thank you so much, Parag.